Welcome back to the Overclock workshop. I don't know why I feel the need to mention the video from yesterday. We don't. Anyway, there was some news. There was some big news, but it hasn't actually mucked up the schedule, which is great.
Yeah, we thought it best to just get a video out there, then and there, and we may or may not, probably will, elaborate on the podcast.
Because we're grifters.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a series where we present an overclock for each category for the weapon in question and verbally assault each other over them. Now we're on to Gunner with the minigun, one of my favourite weapons in the game. What am I doing? I feel like I paused to let you say something, but I don't need you to say anything. But I don't know how to carry on.
I think we just need to start. There's not much to say about the minigun.
No,
it's
apologies
a damn
for the
fine weapon.
Apologies for the cutout of my character from here on out. Just for the thumbnails. Well, it's the thumbnails and the starting and the end screen. It's all that nonsense. Anyway, some of you might be familiar with the series. I mean, if you're not, you'll understand what's going on pretty soon. So,
this is just the longest way of informing you of our ideas.
We'll see. Because the text came up straight away.
You forget to actually put all the things. Doesn't really matter.
No. The text came up straight away. Like the description and the.
Yeah.
That's not meant to happen.
I know, but it's really not the end of the world.
No. And if it's like that's how it is, I'd have to go back and change it all. And I can't be asked. It's fine. I don't think it affects the viewing experience. Anyway.
Not if you move on.
Not if I ignore it. You're right. My clean overclock, Powerhouse. So the name and the description, I would say, are slightly outdated, but I couldn't bother to change them after I changed it. Just because me and Tyler had quite similar clean overclocks. So I sort of just took the half that he wasn't included in his and expanded upon that. So this is a weak point focused overclock. Some guns, I think it's just the two. I think it's just the Sabata and the Bulldog have the chain hit overclock, which is a really crap, terrible piece of shit. Where it's like hitting a weak point has a chance to ricochet the bullet to nearby enemies. Now, on surface level, giving that to the minigun is better than most weapons, but you also, how I did it, I guess it might be used to just read the point itself. Weak point hits have a chance to deal increased damage and ricochet to nearby enemies. So, on the normal chain hit overclock, the ricochet is a chance. That chance is still present and includes like a bonus weak point damage. So you're not doing bonus weak point damage with every hit. It's every 1 in 4. So it's a 25% chance to ricochet and do 30% more damage when you hit a weak point.
So is it? What? Do they line up? Like you do bonus and ricochet, or is it you have a chance to bonus and a chance to ricochet?
No. It's a chance to do both. 25% chance to do both every shot that hits a weak point, which I think works better for the minigun. And I don't really like the fact that it doesn't really have any precision. Sort of, you can't really lean into the precision aspect of it, despite how precise it is. And I would have liked to go further with it, I guess, but a clean is sort of a good starting point, and it still gives it some. No, AoE's wrong. Some crowd clearing potential though, because like when you're just laying into a Praetorian ass, you're probably going to kill a couple of his friends along the way. And I think when it comes to the minigun, this isn't.
I mean, it
seems like certain weapons just have stronger upgrades than overclocks anyway.
That's what like the chain hit is for the Bulldog and Sparta. It's more of a crowd hitting, so you can hit 2 enemies instead of just the one kind of upgrade.
But it's kind of just it doesn't sound that great in general to me, and the fact that it's based on chance is pretty terrible anyway. But the minigun, and there was also a little bit of a damage boost, and it's the minigun, so you're hitting a lot. I think this can actually be like the advantages of this are much more tangible and will be much more noticeable. And I just think it's just better than chain hit as it is, and I think it actually suits the minigun anyway.
Yeah.
You can't be bothered to use it, or you just like it.
It's
I
clean.
can't tell because you tend to just hate mine unconditionally.
Because they're all terrible. No, your terrible ones normally come in the form of unstables. So, but I mean, it's a clean. It's a pre-established, or it's like an upgraded version of a pre-established clean overclock, which kind of makes sense because it's a pretty secondary overclock. If you know what I mean, a very simple little boost. Then put on a primary weapon, you get boosted a bit more.
But it's one that I could actually see myself using because, as good as the miniguns cleans are, they both add 2 positives. I think that applies to all of Gunner's primary weapons actually. All the cleans add at least 2 positives, except that one for the Hurricane that we don't talk about. But when it comes to minigun specifically, its cleans are sort of just outshined because, well, they're just outshined.
Yeah.
Like the other overclocks provide not necessarily the same thing. Like the one that improves your your cooling rate and stuff. It's just like none of the higher tier overclocks really do that, but it doesn't actually benefit you enough. But this at least provides a different function, leaning into like a sort of hybrid of precision and crowd clearing, but taking advantage of the minigun's precision anyway. Like
Yeah.
you're not spraying it into crowds. You're still going to be trying to use it with precision. So you would take the equity upgrade and all that nonsense. But it just works. It just works.
Is it bullet hell that ricochets as well?
Yeah.
So it's like if you like the ricochet, but you don't particularly like bullet hell, which is reasonable. Then you can always run that, which is it's fine. Yeah. Once again, clean. It's pretty difficult to balls up a clean overclock.
I feel like we've done it though. Somewhere.
Probably.
I don't think you've done it though.
Oh, you flatterer. And I suppose I assume that's moving on. That's the cue, so they say, to pitch my clean overclock.
Yeah.
Concussive bullets. And I'm pretty sure I've already kind of dabbled in this well before. But it's Stunner again. I really like Stunner. And it's bonus damage to stunned enemies, which is, a thing, and increased stun chance on weak point. So as you can see, we kind of went for the weak point well, and I think you also had an increased stun kind of thing as well. So yeah, to change it. But yeah, so if you're hitting the weak point, you have increased stun chance, and then you'll do more damage if they get stunned, which they probably will be, because if you're hitting the weak point. And it is just a simples increased stun, increased damage clean, which is probably quite good, but only really if you hit them in their weak point. Which was it that's the minigun could stun everywhere, or just the weak point?
It can stun everywhere, which is why this is almost like somewhat of an inverse of Stunner actually, because the Warthog by default can only stun weak point hits, and Stunner allows it to stun by hitting any point on the body.
Right.
But this, well, obviously you can still stun as normal, but you have increased stun chance on weak points. I think if it was increased stun across the board, that actually would be very powerful because of how fast the minigun fires and how you could actually stun hordes very easily. And also, it is definitely a clean. I think stun to me is almost a stat effect that belongs in the clean unless you do a lot more with it, which I've done something with it. We'll get to that I think later. But it's like in the because game, of the way it works, because of certain things, like it has pitfalls, stun, things that it can't do, a lot of things that it can't affect, which is why I think it being added by something that also gives you penalties usually feels wrong.
Not worth it.
A bit unfair. Yeah. So I can't really argue with this, but I'm not generally I'm not a huge fan of using like my overclock slot for something like this anyway. I wouldn't that's why I don't like Stunner that much, because it focuses on stun, and I don't think stun is that valuable when you put too much into it. I think it should just be not left as it is. But left as it is, not removed, but in the places where it is, it's usually just fine.
I don't know. I don't think Stunner is particularly good, but I find it just weirdly fun for some reason at making a stun build, and I wouldn't mind being able to do that for other guns that kind of stun, and the minigun is one of those. So yeah, and
Well, yeah, well, I can't like fault it directly, but it's not the kind of thing I would want to add. I suppose that is I mean, that is a bit of a criticism, but functionally, it's actually pretty good, and I would try it
Yeah.
definitely. I'd like to see how. Problem is, still kind of outperformance by overclocks that add damage, or ones that add ammo, and then you can add more damage. I don't know. Which is why you would almost want to consider, what if we made a much stronger stun overclock, where it does like 50% more damage to stunned enemies or something. But that sort of goes against my other point, so I don't really know what to do.
You'd just rather not add stun stuff, which is wrong. Don't
Is
do
it? Is it?
Add more
Is it
stun.
wrong?
Make
Is it
every
wrong?
gun stun.
Stun.
Stun is the best status effect.
Make every gun stun.
Shut up.
Stun
Moving on.
propagation. Enemies radiate stun to other enemies around them. Alright. Now things get a little bit more interesting. My balanced overclock. Active uranium. So this refers to the fact that... Now, this is like sciencey bullshit that I don't know if it's true or not. It's just wild assumptions. But the minigun uses depleted uranium rounds, which means at one point it was active uranium. Right? Some of them it didn't work on, so they've got a bunch of radioactive bullets lying around. And you get those now. And basically, not every the point is, it's like there's like in manufacturing they just have a bunch of leftover radioactive bullets, but not like enough where you can like take your entire ammo capacity. So the point is, like, every 20 of shot has +5 penetration and leaves a radioactive trail.
Oh
That's
my.
positive. With slightly reduced ammo capacity, -200, which is something that no minigun overclocks do. I mean, I didn't really want to lean into it. I just thought like a little bit might be reasonable. But the radioactive bullets also deal like greatly reduced damage and receive no weak point bonus. That's -4. So, what do you think? I mean,
Well,
I don't know how to. I can't really defend it until you tear it down. I don't know.
so maybe you should stop talking over me.
No, actually,
It's not where I expected it to go. To be honest with you. I was like, okay, so every so often it's like a thing that deals radiation or like applies radiation or some shit like that. And then you're like every 20, I'm like, oh, that's a lot more sparse than I thought it would be. And then penetration, I'm like, okay, hold on, where's this going? And the trail, alright, it's calm the fuck down. I don't think it's bad, but I think it's I mean, as much as most of the time I think unstable balanced are pretty either or, really doesn't matter. This is a lot more unstable.
If it was unstable, I would have done what I was going to do originally. It was going to have when you overheat, you would like radiate. Like, you'd leave a pool of radiation behind when you overheat. I think just as it is, it's not quite there, because think about Burning Hell. These are sort of just two sides of the same coin. This is just AoE, but more in line with how the minigun functions normally. I don't think this would change your playstyle too much. As much as Burning Hell does, where you sort of tap fire it. This was where you would want to actually concentrate fire to produce the AoE.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like, having a coil gun, but without having to switch to the coil gun.
Yeah.
Like which could be a bit of a bad thing, as in, why bother bringing the coil gun?
Well, you probably wouldn't, but you also... Well, it would definitely be interesting with Reatomizer, I guess, but in this case, it doesn't actually apply radiation, or at least I guess it does to the enemies touching the trail. It's interesting. I mean, I like the idea just that it's probably not as strong as Burning Hell, really, but I'd say
Not many things are.
more range than Burning Hell, and radiation is more universally effective as well. And I just like the idea of giving the minigun another damage over time effect, to be honest. It's the only one that suits it for me, because it sort of lies somewhere in the lore of the minigun.
I'm fond of radiation as a status effect.
So do you think you would just overall just change it to be more straightforward? Like,
Well, to no one's surprise, especially not yours, I would prefer a just simple bit more. What's the? I don't know what it. Oh, it was on for the wave cooker where you apply like radiation to a glyphid.
it's 25%
And,
every hit, and they become irradiated, which means they
Yeah,
get area of radiation around them.
yeah,
That could
maybe.
work. Less
I would-
chance, like
Yeah, 10%
definitely.
maybe.
Yeah, 10%. That could probably work.
And if we were to stick with your 20 bullets, I guess that would be mention 20 bullets would make it like 5%. But yeah, 5 or 10, and it would yeah. But your idea isn't bad, but it is quite radical, while also not being radical at all. Like it wouldn't change the gun in many ways other than you would have less ammo, but every so often a beam of radiation would appear out of your gun.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but I don't know. As good as that is, maybe you want to be able to activate it when you want to activate it. Like, with a coil gun, if you want a trail of damaging, you can just do that, right? Where with the minigun, you could be firing for like 19 bullets and get nothing, and then finally at the end you'll get one. And it's like, okay, I wanted it a lot earlier than that. Now everything in front of me is dead that I wanted to kill with the trail. And
I mean, I don't know how much of a bad thing that is, though. It's just sort of a bonus function, and I think that, I mean,
yeah.
I guess the ammo, the penalty is very slight, but if you ignore that anyway, the other negative isn't really a negative. It's just the nature of the radioactive bullets that they don't do as much damage, but that's fine because of what they do. So if it was just those two, it was just you have radioactive bullets, but they're not as strong as normal bullets, but they do what they do, and that's just the whole thing. Maybe it would just work better on that level, much simpler, not really a negative, but this sort of bonus thing, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that how you described it to work, it might be more awkward than it is. Like it's like, okay, it's it's gone. You're not helping. So, like as you mentioned, it's like it's like a trade up. But like, why pick that when you could pick like something that is just more easy to use and it's more rewarding or
Burning
something?
Hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
So
I know
actually,
it's not
I
a
think
good
I like
argument,
your idea
but
of being a bit more straightforward because that would make it feel much better at range, I think, as well. And that's sort of what I'm looking for anyway. Sort of basically a burning hell that's more universally effective because burning hell is just very destructive in short range. This is sort of a bit more mediated, but it's effective at pretty much any range. You could irradiate
like
very far away, and it will hurt all its friends if they're sort of coming towards you from far away or close by. Either way, but it's not quite as forcefully destructive as burning hell is, and it doesn't really have that combo either.
Yeah, and I don't know, it'd probably be pretty good against bigger targets as well because their radius would be bigger.
Yeah, because that's why I love radiation so much. That's why I actually love that overclock on the wave cooker.
I've not used it as much as I want to, which is on me.
I mean, you really got to use it with that my build.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I'm pretty sure I have that build there. I've just yet to use it, but because my driller needs promoting and it's legendary 3 and a bit, so it costs far too much. I need 3 times the amount of credits I have, so I just haven't played driller in a while. But yeah, I do like radiation as that effect, and I think yours is obviously it's interesting and it would be fun and fine, but I think it might be more awkward than it's worth.
Well,
I think
I think your more straightforward idea is better, but I still think mine could work if we sort of just do it in a way where it's more of a passive bonus than anything else.
Yeah, maybe
but that's not really what I don't think I'd want it to be. That I think I might actually want it to be more straightforward and just like it's obvious what you're doing and it's much more obviously effective.
Maybe it's more common, like every 5 shots, but the trail is less effective. Like there is a trail, but it only lasts for like maybe not even a second, but it kind of just like affects things behind it. So it's more of a common of an effect that is that. But I don't know. It just I don't know. I can see myself being kind of pissed off and rather not just run something else. But yeah,
whatever. Says Mr. Boring over here with his boring ass balanced overclock. What is a
Load
waffle?
me- Roll on floor. Actually, no, it's not roll on floor laughing. It's rate of fire lord.
In this case, it is.
Because you have increased rate of fire by 6, and I don't have the stats here. I think that is a substantial amount.
For the minigun, it's not massive.
What's its normal rate of fire?
Like 26 or something.
Alright, so yeah, a bit of boost. And
I wouldn't call it rate of fire lord though, that's the thing.
but it takes longer to actually reach that rate of fire. So spin up time. Or is that just spinning up? No, that's spinning up to shoot.
Yeah.
Wait, that's just how it works though, right?
Yeah.
It shoots at max rate of fire. Okay, the point is still, maybe, so I assume going off what you said and what I'm hearing, it could probably do with being a bit more rate of fire.
Bro, if the point is you have a massive rate of fire boost on the minigun, I'm thinking 10. Probably.
Yeah, especially
I was going
since
to say 12, but maybe double what the series is a bit too much, but 10.
The spin up
really
time is going to be a
works.
bit of a kick in the teeth.
Base rate of fire is 30. So maybe 12 wouldn't be that unreasonable. It needs to be noticeably faster. That's
Well,
where
the
the
thing
upside is coming from. You have a much faster rate of fire on the minigun, so it needs to be quite high.
Yeah, but the thing is, if it goes too high, then you might be overheating immediately. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's got to be a reasonable level.
Well, for me, the thing is, that makes all of the T5 upgrades even more valuable. Maybe aggressive venting cold to the grave more than just hot bullets, because hot bullets neither gives you benefits of overheating nor prevents you from overheating. But still, this seems like if it would work that way, where it would make you heat up much faster, I don't see that as a massive negative. It's more like
I'm pretty sure that's what rate of fire does. Right?
It's more like a gun to be used in bursts. This would make it anyway. But slightly awkward to be used in bursts because you have this spin up.
Yeah. I think it's more just, it takes a little bit to charge up, but once it's charged up, it's just melts basically everything. So you need to kind of preemptively charge up before a swarm will get punished pretty hard.
Maybe we should
the
lean
reward
into
should
that.
be enough.
Because for me, it's not that it's just too. It is that it's too simple, actually. I think, but I don't think it needs another massive positive. I don't think it needs to do more damage. But what if we just lean into the idea of making the minigun a laser? So increased rate of fire and accuracy. I'm thinking,
Maybe.
and that would work well as a balance, in my opinion, because it doesn't add any stats that would make it an unstable, in my opinion. It doesn't change anything in that sense. But that's why I would go with this. I think as it stands, just increasing the minigun's rate of fire doesn't appear to me that valuable, because that's kind of what it does anyway. So it's not a unique overclock in any sense, really. But if we use it as something to make the minigun more of a laser beam, and that makes the charge up feel more reasonable. Like it would feel more like a charge up than a spin up to just start firing. It actually feels like a charge.
And it would also encourage. Oh, honestly, right? It would encourage using it more at range, because then charge up isn't an issue, right? If they're far away, it's not an emergency.
I've got a better idea. The thing that takes a while to get there, like you were thinking, you sort of made the mistake of maybe thinking that it takes a while to get to maximum rate of fire. Obviously, that's not true. It starts at max rate of fire, but it doesn't start at maximum accuracy. What if we just have that? So when you start firing, it's at maximum accuracy.
All right, yeah.
That wouldn't increase the max accuracy, but it would just mean you don't have to wait for it to be there. So this is much better at range. You won't be wasting bullets trying to focus in on your target, basically. I mean, even with the accuracy mod, it's not a huge issue, but it will still feel really good if you're instantly in that basically just laser beam mode that the minigun is when it's at maximum accuracy. Yeah, baby. And if we did that also, I don't think you'd need to increase the rate of fire that much more. Maybe not even at all. Because that would make it, that would appear to me fairly balanced. +6 rate of fire, start at maximum accuracy, and then you have like a decently slower spin up time. That feels to me fairly balanced, actually. Even though it's
Overclock.
Even though it's 2 to 1, even though it's 2 positives to 1 negative, that still feels balanced in my opinion.
That is, yeah.
And they often are.
Thing is that would both encourage the same kind of. I mean, rate of fire obviously doesn't encourage inherently, but it is, it's better melting in like the short amount of time, and with the instant kind of accuracy and the slower speed up time, it would encourage using it more at range without inherently buffing it at range. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, suddenly you do more damage if you're further away or anything like that. But it's just like naturally pushing you towards using it as far away as you can from the enemy, because otherwise you'll get punished. So you'd want to run a closer range secondary, really. But I don't know. I like it. Transformed the overclock from a simple rate of fire.
So you like my changes?
Yeah, I think it
That's
works.
the right answer.
All right. I might change the name. Well, the name wouldn't work anyway.
I don't know what I would change the name to, though. That's the thing. I'm not really good at coming up with names that sound proper. My names are all just sort of references and like cool phrases.
I just
except my next one, actually. Except.
It's moving on, I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say hello, everyone, to Mindlessly Overclock Aviation module. This is what I was telling you about, and I said that I basically turned my idea for the Aviator class into a minigun overclock. Let's just get into it. Pressing reload switches to aviation mode, causing to hover upwards while firing. That's good. There's no heat build-up when in aviation mode, and you burn and fear enemies beneath you while aviating, like hover boots. Except probably slightly worse, because hover boots don't fear. As in, that means you might not actually set things on fire because you'll fear them. And I don't know how much, like, if that's a radius or anything, if it's just very directly below you. I don't know. Anyway, but reduced damage while in aviation mode, that's -3. And you also have, by default, so this is when you're not in aviation mode, massively increased overheat duration, plus 15 seconds. But like, you don't
fucking hell, Harry.
You don't have any heat when you're flying, basically.
So basically, using it in any other mode, like using it normally, is risking 15 seconds.
But it's not like a massive
incapacitation.
Yeah, if you can still use it fairly normally, though, if you're not an idiot.
Offensive. So I can't imagine aggressive venting and the other ones a particularly good thing to slap on this.
No. No, not at all.
What is the third tier 5 for the minigun?
Hot bullets. It's when the bullets have heat. What?
Aggressive venting, and then there's the hot bullets where it gets hotter
where it removes heat for every kill. So yeah, this does invalidate tier 5 like a lot. That's why I added the thing where you push, because the point is you're pushing the heat out beneath you to make you hover, and that's what means you don't have any heat build up. But you're pushing the heat out, so it will burn enemies beneath you and fear them, which is sort of a combination. Well, it's mostly just aggressive venting, sort of like constantly happening beneath you, basically. It won't help you that much, really, because you are flying. It will help you kill a little bit, but.
And do you just keep flying?
Well, I don't think it's going to be that fast. You hover up slowly, and you can move. It's probably more for getting across gaps and just keeping yourself safe in combat, so you just sort of go upwards.
And if you stop firing, you plummet to the ground, or?
No.
I mean, hover boots, you plummet to the ground once it ends.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to end. You can just start firing again, and you'll sort of soften the landing.
So you're going to have to use even more ammo just to not die.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have to use much, I don't think. And it's not for like crossing massive distances vertically. I'd say it's more for crossing gaps and for getting above enemies. keep out the
Well,
way.
it's more, once as mentioned, using it in normal mode is risky, right? So you're gonna want to be as aviation mode as much as possible. And if you're gonna be using aviation mode like throughout an entire wave, so you're not on the floor and you're shooting enemies and you're not overheating, then you're gonna end up touching the ceiling probably halfway through it.
Well, no, because you're not going to want to use it all the time. Because it decreases your damage. It's not for killing power, really. It's for... Well, it's for utility. Combat utility, yes, because it has some benefits. Obviously, keeping yourself safe and burning and fearing enemies beneath you and all that nonsense. But it does sort of decrease your killing power slightly. So you're not going to want to do it all the time. It's just when you need to. But like the negatives and upsides of both modes of using it are tangible enough. Where what am I saying? Anyway, I think it works. I actually think it's really. I like this. I don't know what to say though.
I know what I don't say, and you're not gonna like it, but I think it's ridiculous.
I'm not
think.
sure I see how it's actually ridiculous.
Right. Well, first of all, you're flying.
Even not really. You're more just hovering.
Let's get that out of the way. Yeah,
not
but hovering
fast.
and going up means you're flying. Like, I don't know. I suppose it's not obviously ridiculous in concept in that hover boots exists, right? But then I don't see. And what I'm going to go down the lists of things I hate about this, and you're going to feel worse and worse, or hate me more and more as I go down. First things first, 15-second overheat. Go kill yourself. That not happening.
I just think it's a big negative that didn't really affect.
I got that, but like, you can't just slap 100% of your negatives into one thing.
Yeah, you can.
And I'm aware that I did it a little bit, but point is, it's no 15 seconds. Some poor sod runs this, overheats, that's it. They're running for their goddamn life.
Well, just switch modes before you overheat. That's fine.
Yeah. Not to mention, you're then using your main way of dealing damage, which for Gunner is the primary, right? Secondaries, they're not exactly. I mean, they rely kind of on the primaries being able to deal out a lot of damage, like in a long amount of time, right? And now you're going to be wasting, let's say, half of that in just moving around slowly. I don't know, it's going to feel like a bit of a waste just shooting at the walls to go mine some nitro on the ceiling or something.
I wouldn't use it for that. It's for combat utility, not really traversal so much. Breaking falls is probably the best usage out of combat.
So basically, you could just use hover boots.
Yeah, but this is much better than hover boots.
Yeah, because it's not a gun, but you could just use hover boots. And then you would actually have a gun that you could use normally.
What are they doing out there?
You don't have to waste your ammo for. And you're not risking a 15-second overheat that invalidates basically all of your tier 5s of a weapon. I think you should be embarrassed, Harry. Terrible.
I don't know. Well, if you just, I don't really think it's a bad idea. If you just think it's a bad idea, I can't rework it for you, and I don't think there's a valid rework for it.
I think it's incapable of reworking. I think it's so far beyond any chance of. Yeah, it is from the toes to the head, just ungodly in its abomination. It is terrible. I hate it so much. This is actually the worst idea you have ever made me suffer the agony of listening to. I don't believe these words, mainly because I've forgotten most of the stuff at this point. But I don't know. I think it's pointless and annoying and ridiculous. And you're welcome. I helped rework your overclock. See now, audience, that is why Harry at the beginning of the video says that we brutally attack each other. Because sometimes Harry comes up with such dumbass ideas.
The only problem is, it's not like it works. It's not going to change anything. I'm still going to come up with more ridiculous nonsense. It just gets worse and worse. Trust me, it gets worse.
I don't know. Your guys in the engineering primaries were pretty bad.
Yeah. I don't know if it gets worse than them.
You start off pretty rough, but yeah.
I don't appreciate where this is coming from, Mr. Boring. It's boring.
It's not boring.
It's better.
My unstable is a reference to Terraria, right? I chose this out of like a really boring one and a slightly more interesting one. Admittedly, that was also a Terraria reference, but the GATLIGATOR.
It's GATLIGATOR. See, this is why you spell it wrong, because you don't even know how it's said. You never read it properly. It's GATLIGATOR, not GATLIGATOR.
Sure. That then. Basically, it is like the GATLIGATOR in the Terraria game, which I'm pretty sure you buy it from the Traveling Merchant, like in hard mode, right?
I don't know. I think so.
Pretty sure. And that's how DRG got their hand on this as well. They met the Wandering Trader and bought it off him and stole his hat, which adds the Wandering Trader's hat into DRG. Thank you very much. But and it works. Basically, the amount of the GATLIGATOR in the main element of the GATLIGATOR, and I keep saying it, even though I think you just said it's wrong. I'm not sure, but 50% chance not to consume ammo, which is pretty strong, and increased fire rate by like 3, which is just a little bit of a fire rate boost because the GATLIGATOR is quite a high rate of fire gun. But then reduced ammo by 25%, so you lose a substantial amount of ammo. Increased spread by 1,000%. Which admittedly,
it's going to go down. It's got to go down. It has to go down.
Sounds a lot.
It has to go down a lot.
But
you don't understand how ridiculous this is. It's terrible.
I'm pretty sure, like bullet hell, it does it by 500.
Yeah.
Right. So
bullet hell also ricochets.
Yeah, but this is I don't know. This is a GATLIGATOR.
No. You don't understand how much 1,000% is. It won't work.
It's just double the other one. It's just a big circle.
No, because you've never actually experienced bullet hell properly. If you take the accuracy upgrade, it feels basically the same as normal. So I imagine taking that mod would probably bring this down, I would hope, to like around 300%, which sounds fairly reasonable actually.
And also decrease spin down time by
but that's why I would want it to be basically
there.
No matter what. That's what we should be looking at. It should be like plus. I don't know. Maybe it works in a way that I don't see why you would ever not use the accuracy upgrade with this anyway, if it's increasing the spread, so maybe it's fine. Where it increases it enough so that when you take the mod, you're going to be looking at about 300% total spread. So if 1,000 makes it work that way, then it's fine, but
it would also be pretty fun to not put the mod on.
1,000% as it is, the gun literally won't work. You will never hit anything, ever.
Don't worry. 50% chance not to consume ammo.
Yeah.
Point is, GATLIGATOR. It's as much as I think it's one of my sillier ones, would also be quite boring. It
is like silly but boring.
Thank you. I tread that line. But you know the for the Drac, there's one that reduces your ammo, but it comes back when you overheat it. Yeah. It's a bit like that. It reduces your ammo, but technically you're kind of not.
I'd say it's better than that. It's not as awkward to use, but at the same time, I don't really see the point of that mechanic.
GATLIGATOR.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I really struggled with the unstable minigun. I have so many ideas, but all of them kind of blew, and Galactic kind of just won out.
Well, think about it this way. If we take our balance on unstables, it can't. If these were to be added to the game, it can't be both of your ones. So you're going to have to pick one, because Rate of Fire Lord is far too similar to this, right?
Well, I would say, I mean,
both
this
of those being added
increases.
would be ridiculous. So
No,
take
not at
this
all.
on its own.
Not wait.
No,
think
do
about
you want to know
this.
why it's ridiculous? Because they would never add 2 overclocks that are so boring to the same weapon. Like now,
The minigun already has plenty of exciting overclocks.
no, it doesn't.
All right,
Like one.
Bullet hell.
Bullet hell sucks. Doesn't count because it's so bad.
That's
And it's
not
that.
fair.
It's not that interesting anyway. It's not.
Ricochet minigun is pretty interesting. But no, we literally, right, obviously my current rate of fire, I suppose, but the one that you modified, it ends up being a lot more of a ranged weapon. How in any way is it close to this, that while it does increase the fire rate, is mainly an increase in ammo, technically, and it clearly would reduce your accuracy. So it's going to be an ammo increase with a slight rate of fire increase at close range.
They're different, but they're both boring. So give up. Give
Look,
up.
Mr. Blister, I'd rather have boring any day of the week than a thing that sounds like a child's idea for a Wonderland game. Like,
No,
yeah,
not
let's fly.
not that one. Not that one. No. We're taking Gatligator. That's the one I want.
I don't like Galactic as much. A rate of fire one with the modified range thing, I think, is a very valid overclock.
I like the idea of just increasing ammo and rate of fire, because then it's just like, oh, lots of bullets. But then it's more fed. It's like an Uzi. It's an Uzi, but it's like this clip is like trailing across the floor. It's great.
Yeah. Point is, I think we're done here.
No, let's move on to my clean overclock for the minigun. Yeah, I think we are done actually. That's weird.
Is it weird?
No.
Well, this has definitely been one of our more mixed bags ones.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, as normal, the cleans were cleans. We didn't have much to talk about. But the balanced ones, we actually workshopped them, which is new. And then the unstable ones, we just violently attacked each other.
Yeah, because they're both terrible. I think Galactic is a lot better. I'll give you that.
Oh, of course it is.
I think mine was basically the best version of that idea.
I think you just need to be honest and just go outright and say it. And you need a jetpack in the game.
No, I don't actually. I actually don't. Not. You'd be surprised how little I actually want the jetpack.
Well, you clearly don't stop talking about it. So literally every day you join the party and like, still no jetpack in Deep Rock. I'm like, yeah, we know, Harry.
When have I ever done that? Like, it's bullshit.
Every day.
He's talking shit.
I am not. He is obsessed with it. And he tried to slip it in as a overclock for the minigun, and just.
I was excited about that one. I have noticed something though. I do end up agreeing with you. Like, I start to realise what I've done as I explain it, but not beforehand.
Because
even though I don't,
because I'm very.
It's not, I don't just like make
charismatic.
them and then like just throw them away. I think over them for usually a while. If I don't change anything, but still.
Well, I think it's the same thing that happened to me here, and I think it happens to everyone. Once you've got it in your head that this is a good idea, you can't convince yourself otherwise. Right? Like,
yeah.
It's the second that someone else is like, hold on. And even literally just that much, and you're like, okay, no, wait, something. No, I think they're onto something. And while I may have made you hate your own stable more than probably warranted, I stand by it, and it's the worst thing ever known to man. and you need to be ashamed of yourself.
I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna create the aviation build, right?
I mean, really, that's going to be like the final videos on the Overclock workshop. It's just going to be creating a new class, like the
So
head toe up.
we can do it right now. We can do whatever we want in this section. It's like, like and subscribe. Now we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, video's over.
I'm creating my build. So gunner. I need hover boots.
Oh, you actually just straight up. All right.
The minigun.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Probably cold as the grave, actually. To keep that heat level down. Considering
Your
I'm not going to be
negatives, that's
moving
overheating,
much.
right?
Considering I'm not going to be moving much in aviation mode. Well, using hover boots, I'm going to use lead storm.
Well, didn't it that by damage decrease?
Yeah, but I'm not going to decrease my damage.
So, why would you?
I know, actually, no, maybe thin drummed walls, more ammo, improved cooling rate, a clean overclock that I've never used.
Sure, give it a go.
Let's use that. It seems like a great idea. I'm going to increase the cooling rate even more. 233%. This is ridiculous.
Cool gun.
Tier 3. Tier 3. I don't know what to do with Tier 3.
What are the upgrades?
Armor breaking, stun, and penetration.
I can't imagine penetration will be good.
No.
So,
no, if I'm going to be above things a lot. You're right.
I mean, was it fear or it was fear?
Yeah.
Your idea. So.
But
Could do stun as a replacement.
Yeah, I will. Secondary. I mean, actually, it doesn't really matter, does it?
I mean, you're going to be dealing a bit of fire with the whole boost.
What?
Volatile bullets. Set them on fire with the hover boots.
No. No.
Oh.
No, that's so stupid. No, I'm going to take the coil gun with fear.
Puss.
No.
Puss ass bitch.
No. Coil gun with fear and hellfire, obviously.
Right. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is how to make a build of a shitty overclock.
Jesus. Wow.
Hey, in case you're wondering,
Zipline launcher, I need to increase the max angle.